It was New Year's Eve, and Marcus Chin stood outside Le Royale, the most exclusive restaurant in Manhattan, watching couples and families disappear through golden doors into warmth and laughter, while he, a man worth $3 billion, was being told there was no table for him. The hostess didn't even look up from her screen. "Sir, we're fully booked. Reservations were required 6 months ago." 6 months ago, Marcus had been untouchable. 6 months ago, his name opened every door in this city. But 6 months ago, he hadn't been betrayed by his CFO, hadn't watched his empire crumble on live television, hadn't seen his so-called friends vanish the moment the headlines turned ugly. The charges were false, completely fabricated, but the world didn't care about truth. They cared about scandal. And Marcus Chun had become the scandal of the year. "I used to own a table here," Marcus said quietly, his breath fogging in the freezing air. "Table 7. Permanently reserved under my name." The hostess finally looked up, recognition flickering across her face, followed immediately by something colder. Contempt. "That reservation was canceled 3 months ago, Mr. Chun. I'm sure you understand why." She said it loud enough for the waiting crowd to hear, loud enough for them to turn and stare, loud enough for Marcus to feel the weight of every eye, every whispered judgment, every assumption that he was guilty simply because he'd been accused. He'd spent Christmas alone in a studio apartment he was renting under a friend's name. He'd eaten takeout on the floor because he'd sold all his furniture to pay legal. The voice came from inside the restaurant, through the glass. Marcus looked up and saw a black man in his mid-40s standing at a table near the window, waving him over. The man was dressed simply, a flannel shirt, jeans, nothing expensive, but there was something commanding in his posture, something that made everyone in the restaurant pause. The hostess stepped in front of Marcus. "Sir, you can't. That man just invited me," Marcus said, his voice stronger now. The hostess hesitated, glanced at the man inside, then reluctantly stepped aside. Marcus pushed through the doors and walked toward the table. The man extended his hand. "Daniel Wright, my daughter and I have more food than we can finish, and I don't believe in letting a man stand out in the cold on New Year's Eve." Across from Daniel sat a teenage girl with kind eyes and a gentle smile. "Maya," she said softly. "Please sit." Marcus felt something crack open inside him. These strangers, these people who owed him nothing, were offering him dignity when the world had stripped it away. "Why?" Marcus asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Why would you do this?" Daniel sat down and poured Marcus a glass of water. "Because 5 years ago, I was you." Marcus blinked. "What do you mean?" "I was a teacher," Daniel said. "Loved my job. Loved my kids. Then one of my students accused me of something I didn't do. A lie. A complete, vicious lie. But it didn't matter. I was fired the same day. My name was in the papers. Parents protested. My wife left me. I lost everything." Daniel's jaw tightened. For 2 years, they walked out together. Marcus, Daniel, Maya, and a dozen strangers who decided that kindness mattered more than reputation. Outside, under the glow of streetlights and the first snow of the new year, Daniel turned to Marcus. "You asked me why I helped you. Here's the real answer. Because when I was drowning, one person threw me a rope. One single person believed me when no one else would. And that person saved my life. So now I throw ropes. That's what we do when the world tries to break us. We throw ropes." Marcus looked at this man, this stranger who'd lost everything and rebuilt himself into something unbreakable, and felt something shift inside him. Not hope, not yet, but possibility. 3 months later, Marcus was fully exonerated. His CFO was arrested. Every charge was dropped. But Marcus didn't go back to his old life. Instead, he used the last of his resources to fund Daniel's nonprofit, expanding it into a national organization that helped falsely accused individuals fight back. And every New Year's Eve, Marcus returns to that street corner outside Le Royale, not to eat inside, but to find someone standing in the cold, someone the world has decided doesn't deserve a seat at the table. And he invites them to his. Because that's what we do when the world tries to break us. We throw ropes, and we pull each other back from the edge. One table, one stranger, one act of defiance against a world that's forgotten what mercy looks like. That's how empires are truly built. Not with money, but with the courage to stand when everyone else sits.